in both the seasons of VCT. We've had different rosters. We faced completely different sets of challenges.
करेक्ट.
What do you think went right for us and went wrong for us in the last 2 years? हम क्या सीखे हैं उससे?
लास्ट 2 ईयर में ना हम बहुत कुछ सीखे हैं फ्रॉम अ मैनेजमेंट परस्पेक्टिव एज वेल. बहुत कुछ सीखे हम एज अ कंपनी परस्पेक्टिव एज वेल, राइट. कैसे प्लेयर पिकअप करना है, क्या टैलेंट देखना है, क्या क्वालिटीज देखनी है, क्या टीम एनवायरनमेंट कैसा बनाना है, क्या टीम कोहेजन होना चाहिए, पर्टिकुलर प्लेयर की क्या इंडिविजुअल क्वालिटीज होनी चाहिए. वो तो आई थिंक हम 2 साल में, फर्स्ट ईयर में आई थिंक मेजर लर्निंग थी हमारी, गेटिंग वेरी गुड एमर्स टुगेदर, ट्राइंग टू फिगर कि हम उनको एक साथ खेलना कैसे सिखा सकते हैं. उसमें भी हमने थोड़ी थोड़ी डिफिकल्टीज फेस करी है, इंडिविजुअल एज पर इंडिविजुअल प्लेयर लेवल. आई वुड से वी ट्राइड टू रेक्टिफाई, बट एज एवरीवन नोस कैसा रिजल्ट था. ओवरऑल जो हमने फर्स्ट सीजन में प्लेयर स्काउट करे थे, आई थिंक दोज प्लेयर्स वर highly impactful, but I won't deny the fact कि we couldn't make them play together. I think it's fair to say that कि हम first season में उनको एक साथ नहीं खिला पाए. That
They
was
couldn't play as a team.
yeah, they couldn't play as a
They were
team.
all great individual players. They couldn't
Correct.
play as a team.
They were all like 5 duelists, and they had the firepower. We know they can shoot.
I think season 2 में most of all हमारा team culture बहुत अच्छा था, team cohesion बहुत अच्छा था. They used to respect each other in season 2. I'm saying थोड़ा मेरे हिसाब से what I saw and what I observed, थोड़ा मेहनत, I would say मेहनत तो था, बट तुम्हें अच्छे से बहुत अच्छा बनना पड़ता है. तो उसके लिए एक प्लेयर, एक कोच क्या कर रहा है उस टीम के साथ, बिकॉज 11-12 टीम ऑलरेडी खेल रही है, राइट. वो भी रोज सुबह उठते हैं, रोज सुबह प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, वार्ड्स देखते हैं, टीम फीडबैक करते हैं, रिव्यू करते हैं प्रैक्टिस, राइट. वो 5 और 6 प्लेयर और वो 2-3 कोचेस क्या एक्स्ट्रा कर रहे हैं, दैट इज व्हाट मैटर्स. हार्डवर्क था टीम में. सीजन 2 में भी मेहनत कोचेस ने, जितना मैंने देखा है, आई थिंक स्पिन बिग टाइम ने बहुत मेहनत करी है. आई डोंट
Probably more than the players, I would say, in some ways.
यस, प्रोबेबली मोर देन द प्लेयर्स. उन्होंने बहुत मेहनत करी है. इट्स जस्ट वो रिजल्ट्स कन्वर्ट नहीं हो पाए स्टेज पे, राइट. तो वो कंसिस्टेंसी वाला पार्ट थोड़ा मिसिंग था थ्रू आउट द सीजन, आई वुड से. एंड
जब तक वो आया सीजन खत्म हो गया. I would also like to add, operationally a lot of things were very different for us season 1 and season 2. I think season 1 हमारे biggest troubles were logistically and operationally the transition into VCT, because we were talking about it, like it started off, we had to operationally move everything to Korea, get our players over there, get visas and everything sorted. I think fortunately for us, because we had 7 players in our roster, there were multiple instances where Golu and Rossi couldn't even get their visa because the Indian passport wasn't strong enough to have them keep traveling back and forth to Korea and spend enough time there. इसलिए बाकी के 5 players were at least there. Like, we were fortunate that we didn't miss matches on stage. हमारे लिए that itself was a very big achievement. We didn't miss any of our matches, because there was a time that Riot emailed us and said, guys, there's a very good chance y'all won't make it to your matches on stage. And if that happens, y'all will be in a very big breach, because y'all won't have enough active players in the country eligible to be able to play on stage. Like, wo bhi situation aa gaya tha season 1 mein. So there were lots of things that we had to face, where fortunately we had Ronski, we had Bazi, we had Monier, we had enough players that we could keep rotating in and out. And then Golu also came, Rossi came. That's why we were almost the only team in VCT that had a different roster potentially every match that they played on stage in first season.
आप जब उस डेटा को देखते हो ना, डेटा कैन बैक व्हाट the reality is. Abhi
Which is why I'm glad this year, this season, our tryouts, every single match we recorded, we literally have a spreadsheet data-wise and role-wise of every player based on the number of matches they played. I mean, 200, 300 rounds ka data hai hamare paas of who has played what, how much, how well. And then we've compared it to how they played on stage, off stage, scrim results. All of those we have matched. And it's a very, very evidence-based approach that we've got this season, because at the end of the day, that's, if you can't perform in game, everything else is useless.
I'm glad that you mentioned that there's an evidence-based approach in 2025 का season. So I like how the philosophy has also changed, right? Like in 2023 में हमने focus किया फायर पावर लेंगे, फायर पावर वाले प्लेयर्स मिल गए, उनको हम एक टीम बना देंगे. 2024 में वो चेंज हुआ कि लाइक एक टीम अच्छी बन जाए, फायर पावर नहीं भी हो तो चल जाएगा.
यार
This year
फायर पावर ना थी, आई वुड से I'm not
हाँ
gonna say कि
थी
नहीं
फायर
थी.
पावर थी
थी।
ब्रो.
फायर पावर थी. वो
कंसिस्टेंसी नहीं थी, वो फायर पावर निकलने में कंसिस्टेंसी नहीं थी.
कंसिस्टेंसी नहीं थी, और वो जो स्टेज पे we majorly lacked stage performance, I
Yeah.
would say.
And you also mentioned season 1 and season 2. I'll also say a fun fact. Hypothetically, season 1, अगर हमारे पास 5 Indians होते हमारे roster में, we would have been disqualified because they wouldn't have been able to make it on stage for the match and they would have missed the match for visa.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
all the other players that were on stage were non-Indians because Indians का visa time पे नहीं हो पाया. And Riot was very clear, if your team can't make it on stage, you will be disqualified from the event because you can't miss a VCT event. So हम लोग अगर इंडिया वी वर फॉर्चुनेट कि हमारे पास 5 नॉन इंडियन प्लेयर्स थे जिनका वीजा हो पाया टाइम पे एंड वी कुड गेट देम ऑन स्टेज, अदरवाइज वी वुड हैव बीन डिस्क्वालिफाइड इन सीजन 1 ओनली. हमारी वहीं लग जाती. लेट्स गो 2025 roster time.
Yeah, and while we obviously know who they are, the audience doesn't. I don't think we can tell them right away. I mean, I think we'll have to wait till announcement. But I want to show the audience what our perspective was when we were selecting these players.
Specific to what we are trying to do in the next season is building a team around an experienced IGL जिसके पास experience है, और उसके around 3 से 4 young heavy hitter. Criteria was they want to win, they have hunger, they can give up everything on their plate just to be there at the VCT.
And they are the best at their role and can gel well as a cohesive unit.
अब जैसे हेरिटिक्स का मॉडल है, राइट, एक्सपीरियंस है लोगों में और यंग प्लेयर्स भी है. वी वांटेड टू हैव समथिंग सिमिलर कि 1 से 2 प्लेयर एक्सपीरियंस्ड है जिन्होंने खेला है, जीते भी है, विद यंग हैवी हिटर्स हु नोज देयर रिस्पेक्टिव रोल्स.
We wanted to make sure that there are people who've got stage experience and off stage experience, because ऐसा नहीं हो कि पहली टाइम स्टेज पे हमारे साथ आके खेल रहे सारे. There should be enough who've been on stage, one on stage, got that exposure, so they can help the guys that haven't been there.
हम सारे फेलियर क्राइटेरियाज एक एक करके हटा रहे हैं जो हमारे सीजन 1 और सीजन 2 में हुए हैं, टू मेक श्योर वी आर नॉट रिपीटिंग द सेम मिस्टेक्स. एंड जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स हो रही है और जो हमें लग रही है अराइज होने वाली है, उसका सोल्यूशन instantly, लाके we move forward.
Not just through our mistakes, also learning from other VCT teams. We're communicating regularly. We're talking to all the other team owners. We're talking to the team managers, not just in our region and other regions as well. Understanding their problems, seeing how they solved it, because a lot of the problems that we are facing today, उन्होंने शायद 5 साल पहले, 10 साल पहले, 2 साल पहले, या maybe last month already face करके solve कर लिया हो.
In order to win, I think one of the things that we were lacking is like an in-game personality. Like for example, if you take a look at Paper Rex, they have a clear W gaming personality. वो उनका एक स्टाइल बन चुका है. Same with DRX or Genji. They have very disciplined setups. DRX relies on the discipline, and Genji sometimes relies on disruption also. So, what do you think our team ka personality would be like?
For now, the word that I would like to use is explosive, but I don't want to preemptively say anything till I get everyone in the bootcamp and we start seeing them in action. But as of right now, that's a word that I would like to use.
Some of the players that we've seen in the tryouts were just so damn good, and we've seen players from every region, from every league, like from EMEA, Pacific,
like we did
Oceania,
all across every league. I think our tryouts spanned across 7 servers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
7 servers that we tried out, and I think everyone in the scouting team, the coaching staff, the management is very happy with our shortlist. I don't think there is anyone who will like, "Arey, ye nahi मिला या ये नहीं होना चाहिए था." और every single player were all like perfect, we're good, all good, we're fine.
I know you can't say the names. At least एक nationality distribution दे दो, region wise distribution दे दो, उतना तो league दे ही सकते हैं, right?
हाँ, मैं उतना तो बोल सकता. Now we have one import and the rest are from Pacific.
अच्छा, one import and rest from Pacific. ठीक है. Import from EMEA.
We have one import and then the rest of our Pacific. Yeah.
Okay.
For as much Roshi sir loves to give out leaks, he's keeping it very much intact.
है ना, like he's going against his own personality.
I said no, we have one import and we have the rest are from Pacific. अभी और क्या बोलूं? When we put our form out, we had almost 500 players that initially filled it up on the first day itself. By the end of it, I think right now the form is sitting at just under 1,000. Many of which who did not fill that criteria, who were not eligible because they did not fill all the criteria that we had. From the ones that were eligible were about 300 or 400, जिसमें से I would say about half of them were from our region, the remaining half were from outside Pacific, and then the filtration process began, and then Vatsal can tell you the rest.
We had to filter with specific role कि भाई ये बंदा है, इसका ये criteria है, he has played in tier 2 region, locally, domestically क्या खेला है, क्या stats है उस region के. We came down to final 90 players from Asia Pacific.
These are
the open tryouts जो 90 players खेले हैं individually, जिनके stats recorded है, wards है. From 90 we have shortlisted to 60, 60 to 30, 30 to 20 and 20 to 10.
And ये सब हुआ by just virtue of watching them play. Multiple rounds,
by
multiple
making them
games.
play because we're hiring them
Yeah.
to play. After that, we had a close tryout where all the people from Open moved forward, and then there were players that were already in tier 1 or were competing somewhere who we invited, who we felt would be the right fit for our team, or we felt deserved the opportunity. We invited them, and that also included our existing players who were signed to us. So those people came in and close tryouts. So close tryouts was another 25, 30 people that came in.
You can visibly see the difference between open tryout and closed tryout. तो obviously होना ही था. वहां से एक सेंटिनल दूसरा सेंटिनल की टीम से कैसे क्या मैचअप है.
Then head to head started.
Head to head started.
It's like, hey, if these are for each role, example, if these are the two best sentinels that we had at each role, they would be in opposing teams and we'd see how they performed against each other.
Right. And same for duelist, same for IGL, same for flex player, same for controller player or initiator.
And we kept rotating players, moving them from one team to another team. If one team became too overpowered, we moved them. Sometimes we intentionally made a weaker team and saw how players or IGLs or duelists perform on a weaker team and see whether they get tilted, how they perform, how they communicate with the rest of their team.
They try to simulate every possible situation, put you on a strong team. How do you react when you're absolutely destroying the opponent? How do you react when you're absolutely getting destroyed?
अभी we had Pacific trials and we had EMEA trials, right? हमने सबको 30 मिनट पहले का, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अगर 11:30 आना था तो हमने प्लेयर लोगों को बोला था कम इन डिस्कॉर्ड बाय 11 o'clock and start your all the 5 individuals in both the A team और B team needs to come in Discord and वहाँ बैठ के बात करो क्या सीन है. पैसिफिक वाले आते थे, बात करते थे, मस्ती वस्ती करते थे और फिर स्क्रिम में we used to start, give the lobby code and we used to start the matches and observe. See the difference between Pacific and EMEA. EMEA वाले whoever, तो हमने जब लिस्ट देते थे ना हम उसमें ऑलरेडी स्टार टैग कर देते कि जिसके नाम के ऊपर स्टार है वो IGL होने वाला है.
Yeah, so players were told कौन IGL करेगा, कौन क्या रोल खेलने वाला है, वो हमने उनको ऑलरेडी बता के रखा था पहले.
एक दिन पहले बता दिए थे रोल्स और मैप्स और IGL कौन है. अभी क्या हुआ ना, जब EMEA ट्रायल से तो जो भी IGL था ना 30-45 मिनट्स पहले ऑलरेडी डिस्कॉर्ड पे पिंग करता था, सबको बिठाया डिस्कॉर्ड में, वैलो प्लांट में ले जाके ड्रिल्स चल रहे कि ऐसे एग्जीक्यूट करेंगे, ये करेंगे. यू सी दैट लीडरशिप
No one told them to do that.
Exactly, that was extra.
Didn't say. In Pacific मस्ती चल रही है, जब तक लॉबी कोड नहीं दिया जा रहा मस्ती चल रही है, बातें चल रही है. अभी उन्होंने भी देखा ना कि सामने वाले EMEA, so next day
immediately उन्होंने, because they saw that hey, this is what was happening in EMEA. They learned, they immediately saw that oh वो वहाँ चल रहे, हम लोग अभी मस्ती नहीं, हम लोग भी ये करते. अगले दिन उन्होंने भी किया.
तो ये हमारे लिए भी रहा कि okay, this is a sign of good leadership.
वो बोलते हैं ना लाइब्रेरी में जब बैठोगे खुद पढ़ाई करना शुरू कर दो because you see everyone else around you studying. It's that kind of environment that matters.
And the vibe of the tryout changed so much from start to end. Like, this is something that even I noticed and I saw it evolve so much. Like, open tryouts में अगर हम 11:30 को मैच स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, 11 बजे उनको आने बोलते हैं, कोई लोग ऐसे रहेंगे जो 11:15, 11:20 तक आ जाएंगे, या फिर डिस्कॉर्ड में आके बस बैठेंगे, म्यूट करके चुप होके बैठ जाएंगे, फिर एक बार लॉबी कोड आया तो अपना मुंह खोलेंगे कि हाँ चलो अभी खेलने का वक्त आ गया है. A lot of these players were from South Asia as well.
Who actually cares enough about winning?
Are you building around a certain player or any particular person?
For sure, we are building around a specific person. The name is still confidential and we can't really tell the name, but yes, we are building around one specific player who we think is vocal enough and will keep the team together.
Is this person the IGL or the coach or what?
IGL.
When can we expect the roster announcement to come out? End of this month, maybe?
I would say you will know our entire roster before October ends. Everything. All our roster, all our players, everything. Before the month ends, you will have everything.
All right.
And they will all be, hopefully, all at the bootcamp practicing also by the time the month ends.
Okay. And once we have sorted out the VCT roster, when are we looking to start on the VCSA roster?
We have started a little work on the back end, but now that our VCT roster is finally all in place, and by the end of October, everything should be done on that front. November, I would say, is the month where you will see similar things like application form, tryouts, all of those things should begin in November.
उसमें ना this year we will implement a cross pollination between our VCL team and VCT team where there will be a massive knowledge sharing between both the teams, probably having a weekly scrim structure where our VCL as a team can directly have scrim time with our VCT team. So we need to make sure कि अभी ठीक है हमने youngsters ले लिए VCL ऐसे टीम में बट उनको वो exposure भी
Better
देना है.
होना पड़ेगा. And they're not going to get better by playing with other teams in India. They'll get better by playing against better players. That's our goal, is to get them to play against better players.
What are certain core values जो हम इस साल implement करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, which we haven't done before?
I have already started working with the coaches and support staff and Bhaving with building those team core values. But जो एक दो core values होने वाली है, having winning as a habit, कि winning mindset से जाना है. We are there to win and nothing else.
Value number 1, win. Value number 2, do whatever it takes to win. Value number 3, look above. Now that our roster is built, and hopefully by the time you are watching this, some players would have already started arriving at our boot camp.
Right.
And I think it's going to get. I'm going to go back to the word I used before. It's going to be explosive.